gonna go a little philosophical, guys. And also, as a therapist, meaning making. So one of the things that I like to bring up, and I probably like to ask Coach and Ace, and I'll get brush up on my opinion. But what makes a comic? What makes a comic awesome? And I know that seems like a simple concept, but I think different people have different answers with concern to that. Can you have a most beautifulest comic ever with like the best art ever, and Grant Morrison, tripping on acid, writing it? Like, would you enjoy that? Or would you enjoy, a John Romita Jr.? I know Ace is going to throw something at my face, but would you enjoy like a sketchy or a Rob Liefeld drawn comic?
Oxide is coming for you.
You got
gonna
Dark Side already?
He gonna kill you.
Oh,
Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your husband.
I am super jelly. I can't wait for my Dark Side to come in.
I know. It's pretty excited.
Yes. But what makes a comic most enjoyable for anybody? And I'll kind of go into what I like when picking out a comic. I can even deal with subpar art. I'm not an artist. Never claimed to be an artist. I can't draw worth a shit. I mean, I can do some stick figures and whatnot.
Those are
fun.
But
Yeah. But like, as long as you're giving me a good storyline and something halfway decent to look at, I'm good. But the most important to me is character development. That is why Jeff Johns, that is why Jeff Lemire, that is why some of, even Kurt Busiek, like, people who can make these characters likable. Like, I can float back and tell you about some of it's kind of where I fell in love with Booster Gold. It's not necessarily that Booster Gold. There it is. It's gotta be
sucking on that Booster T.
We're still waiting for that origin from him.
I know.
That's right.
One of these days, TikTok fans.
I love Booster.
But like, that's where I fell in love with Booster. Like, okay, some of his villains he fought weren't the craziest and awesomeness, and the art was, I would say, it was pretty decent.
Stan Jurgens, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and then later it was Norm Brieform, I think is his name, Brieford, and but his backstory is is just what caught me. Not only his backstory, but the theme of him, the theme of Booster, like his idea, the idea of Booster Gold is this guy that is constantly trying to break his name, to get into a place where of notoriety. So I would like to ask, and please put some comments out there. I'd like to ask, like, what makes a good comic for you? I think there are some people out there that would read crappy stories to just see really good art. Sometimes I don't mind. Sometimes I don't mind thumbing through some crappy stories to see good art. That's okay. But I'm probably Tenacious Coates, like some of that Black Panther stuff, or even some of the most recent Captain America stuff. Terrible stories, terrible writing.
Well,
but it was pretty.
Political stuff aside, he's just a terrible comic writer. Mm-hmm. He's a commentary. He's a political commentary writer. Mm-hmm. He's not a comic writer, so he has no idea how to write a comic.
In no way, shape, or form.
I'll talk next because Josh, I know you could go for an hour on this topic, but as a new reader to comics, not like new, there's some that I've always read, but like a newer branching out, it's like a girl. The artwork looks pretty and it draws your interest. But I'm telling you, if the story is not good, I can't keep reading just because the artwork is good, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm going to probably say something I probably shouldn't. So the one we got on First Man, I was excited because I thought the artwork looked tremendous.
If you're watching, we love you, Andy.
I did not read a fourth of it, and I can't. It's not good. And so no matter how great the artwork is, I can't even read the freaking whole book. And it's not a big book.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel.
Yeah, and I won't talk forever, guys, but I can read a comic for just the art. And I can read a comic that has a super great story and it has crappy art. But to me, neither one is as fulfilling as if you can have both. And sometimes that feels like the holy grail because I don't, when I'm sitting here thinking as Ref is talking, and I'm like, it's really hard for me to find that book that has both. It doesn't happen as often as you might think. And everyone's art preference is their own preference. You know what I mean? So, like some people,
the style that you like.
Yeah, like I've always thought Bill Sienkiewicz, I think that's how you say his name. I hate his art, but people look at him as like one of the all-time greats. That's why I could never stand New Mutants in the 80s, because he had that horrible abstract-looking art. It just isn't for me. And I know people love it, but it's just not for me. So it's hard to find that. So you're really finding that combination of a Jeff Johns and an Ivan Reis for me is like, that's just where you want to savor those comics and almost keep them in a special box, because it's hard to find that combination that really hits the spot for art and story.
Yeah.
Like Ben Ref is right. Black Hammer to me is an example of amazing story with kind of shit art, really. But it's so good you kind of just overlook it, and I think it's supposed to be kind of just I mean, I think that's the style they're going for, but yeah, again, it's everyone's preference. But when I read a comic, I want that Ivan Reis, George Perez style that's clean, clear. Ethan Van Sciver, that's really that's what I enjoy the most is that type of art with a Jeff Johns serious tone action.
So do you think that's why you both enjoy Green Lantern as much as you do, is because you had Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver doing a lot of it together?
For me, yeah. I mean,
that's where I fell in love with Hal Jordan is the Rebirth. I mean, the art was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The writing was, probably some of the best I've ever read. Like, Jeff Johns could make the shitty, he can make a character with the shittiest abilities, and the lamest backstory, and he can make them pretty awesome. I mean, like Booster Gold in my mind
cool
was
how I can
awesome.
Do that,
and then Jeff Johns touched him, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's great. I can get behind that. So,
if you have enjoyed what you have watched, please hit the subscribe button and make sure you check out our other videos. Thank you.